Welcome tonight here on GlacierTV to the Blondie's MX5 World Tour, the ultimate round of the season, race 15 here at Laguna Seca. The Mazda Speedway Laguna Seca being the final event here for the guys. 26 guys currently in the qualifying underway. We've got a very special situation at the top of the pack. Two drivers being able to claim the title here. It is between Jan Koemans and Guillermo, and these are the two guys having the first two spots here on the qualifying table at the moment. Together with me here tonight is Joni Beckman, and Joni, I think, yeah, it's once again Koemans and Rato pretty much running away in their own field, in their own zone.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see Rato's pace especially. He's been improving his pace through the season, and Koeman has been dominant in his own steady pace, fast pace since the beginning of the season. But it will be interesting to see. Koemans have had a few races this season where his performance has been struggling, whether it's penalty issues or something else, but that will be interesting to see how this round plays out.
You're currently following the pole sitter Jan Koemans around the track here. 3.6 kilometers long Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca here. In the 11 turns, the drivers are forced to their absolute limit, and we're going to take a look at the championship standings, as of course this is the ultimate round of the season. Like already said, Jan Koemans, your championship leader, with 52 points ahead of Guillermo. These are the two drivers currently in this order occupying the first two qualifying positions so far. We've got just over 1 minute to go, so we're going to keep you informed on that. Third position currently with no chance to drop or gain any position, pretty much safe with that. Douglas Baird, 1061 points. He's already 203 points off Jan Koemans, your championship leader. Fourth position, Jere Jänes from Finland, 319 points off, respectively. He's 116 points off Douglas Baird, so no chance for Douglas Baird here to lose his third position, whatever happens in the last race. Jere Jänes and Douglas Baird are currently in third and fourth position in the qualifying, and completing the top five Arkadio Steteric with 899 points, in fact. So it's getting a little bit more close there from fourth position on 945 points for Jere Jänes. Teteric has got 899, and also Nico Brandt behind them on sixth position, 865 points. However, it is not looking so good for Nico Brandt in the qualifying. In fact, I'm still looking for him here on the server, so he's not exactly put qualifying time in yet. So I believe it is going to be the seventh position Dexter Castro who is then possibly getting the better of them. So qualifying is over, and the drivers now coming to the start-finish line to complete the last lap of the session. In fact, that will be about 1 minute 30 to go. It is still no change at the top of the pack. It is still Guillermo in second and Jan Koemans leading the pack here, as Guillermo just invalidated his last possible lap. So only Jere Jänes is still on the track, but we're expecting the top two at least to be staying like this.
Indeed, we are, and Guillermo only about 0.2, 0.3 of a second behind Jan Koemans this time around. Several tracks, even with the shorter tracks, we've seen Jan Koemans dominate the qualifying by setting the pace by near a second. So Rato definitely has the pace around here, and we have to remember that this is one of the few basic pack tracks that we have in the series, and since it's a basic track, it means that everyone has been able to practice this track and this specific combination ever since they joined iRacing. So this track should display far more equal gaps between the drivers than for example Silverstone would.
You say it, if you started your iRacing career, if you went to iRacing, there is a strong possibility that you overcame this track exactly in the NVIDIA Cup MX5 Rookie Series, where you're going through several tracks including Okayama and Laguna Seca. So this is going to be one of the tracks you'll have to run if you want to progress through the fields. We're going to give you a look through the grid here. As we've said a couple of times now, Jan Koemans is occupying the pole position, 1 minute and 39.732, so has in fact set an even quicker lap time with the last time by. About 6/10 ahead of Guillermo Rato and Jere Janis in third. The only 3 drivers to do a 1 minute and 40 or quicker. In fact, Jan Koolmans being the only one posting a 39 here. In fourth, Douglas Baird, 41.093. And then, not exactly the mid-pack beginning, but definitely times getting a bit more close. Tom Rathje in fifth, 41.236. Thomas Halonen in sixth, 141.512. Stefan Morien, 141.602. And in eighth position, Arkadiusz Teteric, who is currently the one in the championship being in fifth position. So between him and Jere Janis, there's a mere 5 positions. 142.0 for him. Eric Garcia, 42.18. And Claudio Klima completing the top 10 with a 42.292, which is, like you said, Jan Koolmans once again dominating this. Only by 6/10 to Guillermo Rato, but by 2.5 seconds, including the top 10 already.
Indeed, and just before we are going to go green, just to point out in the point standings that even though the top 3 has pretty much been top 2 are fighting, third position is pretty much solidified already. But in the mid pack, including in every single race we've seen this season, in the mid pack, not only it's been tough or close gaps and lots of overtaking in the races, but also in the point standings we have I think it was 7th to 13th position, all can be decided in one race, so that's going to be interesting to see how the mid-pack plays out.
Yeah, and everything will be decided in one race, as this is the last round of the season here at Laguna Seca, and the cars already jumped on the grid here, trying to make the last couple of seconds here to the green flag, to the green lights. In fact, as we've got the standing start, just looking for Guillermo Rato, he's not yet in the grid position, so Jan Koolmans in the first row
he missed the grid.
alone.
He missed the grid. We're gonna get the lights.
And you said it, we're gonna get the lights. Guillermo Rato not on the grid. That means Jan Koolmans has a good gap behind him and Jere Janis. So green flag here as we're about to approach up the hill, a very steep uphill section here. Thomas Halonen from 6th position with a good start here around the outside. Koolmans way in front already, and we're going to take a look at how this first turn plays out. Bear in mind 45 minutes of racing, so you don't want to put everything on the risk. Yeah, and so far it looks really good. A few cars here going too wide, but nothing really bad happening. Also at the rear of the pack, no incidents so far. A few cars just kicking up some dust there, but Jan Koolmans still getting the car out of the first couple of turns quite safe. And Joni, I believe if yeah, he's not going to get Guillermo Rato right behind him. Rato currently out of the pit lane here, completely at the end of the field. Yeah, Koolmans will have one quiet race once again.
Yeah, it wasn't the start. I'm pretty sure it's not the start that Guillermo Rato was planning on. As he said, the second fastest qualifying time. As looking at the 2-wide situation, Tom Rathje, Douglas Baird going into the kink here, which precedes the way onto the corner.
Oh, and Jan Koolmans off. I'm sorry, Joni, Jan Koolmans is off and he's putting the car, I'm not exactly sure if he's put it into the wall. No, he's not. He's avoided the wall, but he's lost several positions here, and I wonder what happened to Jan Koolmans there.
It's the kink. It's always getting its taxes, and that corner is one of the most driver-consuming corners of this whole racetrack, and not just by like mentally going through that corner every time, but also like looking at the amount of cars that will finish races at Laguna Seca. Usually, that corner is one of the key corners that really take the drivers off in this race. Koolmans still makes a late diving into the last corner, gets one position back, so Koolmans is now up to 5th.
Yeah, and he's still got Jere Janis inside, and we've got 24 laps to go, representing an equivalent of 45 minutes here. And Koolmans has to do some work here, at least. He's pretty much used to starting from the top of the field here as he goes past Stefan Morien. He's still got 4 cars ahead of him, and well, we don't mention too often, but even in race pace, he's still quite a bit faster. So I wonder how it plays out with having a couple of cars here to overtake.
And I wonder what happened. Luis Baboni seems to have a heavy off track in turn 1. Where he was very slow coming out of that corner. I wonder what happened there for Luis Baboni, but drops back to 22nd position from 12th position. So 10 places lost for Luis Baboni in one corner.
Yeah, and it looks like Baboni spun the car there coming into the first turn, not applying too much blip on downshifting there, and he just put the car sideways and spun off into the gravel. Of course, that will benefit Guillermo Rato with another couple of positions as he's going past him right now.
Indeed, and he's causing quite a bit of traffic jam here.
Yeah, he is, and Rato being quite lucky that he got past there, right? Quick, and now going into the king all too wide there. Good looking, yeah, no further incidents. Car going very sideways there out of the king. However, Guillermo Rato passed, and yeah, he might at least look to get some positions as soon as Coleman's is being held up at the top of the grid.
Indeed, but still we have to remember that Rato still currently, instead of being second, if he had been second on the grid, he would not be leading the race by quite a margin, but now he's looking to get 21st position away from Jonathan Keir, which I'm pretty sure he's going to do a late break into the last corner here, if I'm not mistaken. He should be way faster out of that corner. Indeed, he is looking late dive, but yeah, I think Keir saw him and recognizes the situation, but yeah, still, even though Jan Koemens is in 4th position and closely approaching Tuomas Halonen in 3rd position, Rato still in 21st position, still 17 positions between them. So Rato is gonna have to do something miraculous in order to save his championships.
Not only almost 20 positions between them, but also if we take a look at the championships, it's not exactly the the hand for Guillermo Rato here. He is already 52 points down. However, you get for a win, you get the 100 points. For a second place, you get 90. So even if he would win this, and we're expecting Jan Koemens to not really be slower than him, Koemens could still finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and that would not change anything here. So it's not going to change anything if Guillermo Rato doesn't move up there, and I believe it is Tom Rath here right now benefiting Jan Koemens with another position.
Yeah, Tom Rath is going backwards. He was 2nd starting that last lap and he dropped down to 4th. Both Jan Koemens and Tuomas Halonen got past, and Tuomas initially made the move, forced Tom Rath to go slightly wide, and Jan Koemens said thank you very much, and took the P3, I believe it's right now. Yeah, P3, he took it back going into the kink. So Rathi 2 places lost in one corner, and I don't think he will be able to keep up with Halonen and Koemens at this point.
Meanwhile, we've got a little incident there at the corkscrew, in fact, involving Bill Zahn and Kevin Stallings, where Stallings spun the car, and Bill Zahn pretty much couldn't avoid that.
That's a DNF for Stallings there. I'm gonna check a replay right now to see exactly what happened there. Nope. Too late already. Let's rewind some more. It's a basic look to me like Kelvin Stallings just lost control going into the corkscrew, and it just took another innocent victim in the process.
Yeah, you've seen Kevin Stallings there with his car completely out of pace. They're facing the wrong way, and it can really happen easily. The corkscrew being one of the most complicated turns, not only on this track but also in the complete series schedule, where we've got quite an interesting schedule. We might talk about that later on, but now we are taking a look at the lead of the pack once again. Jan Koemens looking to get the positions, but he's still not exactly held up, but fighting with Tuomas Halonen.
Yeah, he is. It's surprising that he's showing not so dominant pace here in the race trim.
When Halonen is off.
Yeah, Halonen is off. And that was just when it seemed to me like he went to the penultimate corner slightly too heavily to cut the inside bend a little bit, and car 4 refuses to rotate anymore, and it just went wide and tried to it looked like a small slide, and then he overcorrected it and just went heavily at the outside. Not sure he hit the wall there, but dropped down to 8th position.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly if it's a good decision here to stay out, as he could have entered the pit entry right there, could have entered the pits to have the pit crew check for damage. And also we've got one mandatory pit stop here in the series, so he could have made that right away. But he stays out, and we're going to keep a look on him if the car involves further damage. However, that makes the way free for Jan Koemens there, now in 2nd position, chasing Jere Janis. And Janis there kicking up a lot of dust there out of the 3rd turn. He's getting the pressure, he's feeling it. Tom Rathje in 3rd right now, Douglas Baird in 4th. And for Douglas Baird, like we said, there's nothing really going on for the championship. Jere Janis, however, is leading, and if he even if he wins the race, there's not going to be any change. These are currently 4th and 3rd in the championship. However, Arkadiusz Tetric in 5th position, looking to defend at least. But yeah, he would have to get Jere Janis, and at the moment they've got yeah, a 44-point difference, so 44 points not exactly made up if Janis is leading and Tetric is only in 6th.
And currently looking, let's have a look at the P15 battle between Steve Brockman and Joshua Gaiman here. Again, they trade places in turn 5 or turn 6, but now coming into the corkscrew, I wonder if Joshua Gaiman is able to retaliate the maneuver. Doesn't look like so, nope. And meanwhile, the lead battle is obviously heating up again.
Yeah, it is, and the first 2 drivers making sort of little mistakes here in the penultimate in the last turn. Koolman's putting the car slightly sideways. He might get the run down into turn 1 right now. Jeris on the right side of the track here, and he's letting him through. He's late on the brakes, not exactly too late, but he just knows that Jan Koolman has got the superior race pace here, and obviously is trying to hold onto his rear right now. We've seen in the first lap already how much this track actually demands of the driver, and we've seen Jan Koolman's running away from the grid and still making the mistake, almost putting the car into the wall. So with 24 laps running here, and currently we are in the 6th lap of 24, there's still a lot which can happen.
Indeed, and I mean, not only the kink where Jan Koolman's lost it, halfway lost it in the opening lap, but the corkscrew following that, to which Jan Koolman's is arriving in about 10 seconds time. The corkscrew with these cars is extremely tricky, because even though the car handles well, it doesn't have that much top speed, etc., etc. But still, when you go into the corkscrew, if you don't get the line right, when you're driving into it at the limit, like you see right there, Koolman's back end just loses every bit of grip it has for just a fraction of a second. And if you have to rotate the car at that stage, you're really going to lose the back end. And once you do that, that steep downhill, there's nothing you can do to recover it.
You say it, there's nothing you can do. However, the drivers had sufficient practice here to make sure they've got the lines right, because they cannot adjust the setup.
Too wide, sorry, they get too wide into the corkscrew. Guillermo Razzo takes out inside position into the corkscrew there from Michael Denton, but successfully makes the pass. Nobody takes a slowdown penalty. Beautiful move by both drivers.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the drivers are not allowed to do any setup changes here, running with the fixed setup, and it just shows that Guillermo Razzo has the superior line there, taking the position of Michael Denton here, and currently puts him into 13th position, so he's already way up the grid here. He came from 29th up to 13th in not even a third of the race distance. Is quite a good thing for him. However, he is still about 26 seconds down the lead, and well, if we haven't got miracles to come up, we've got no safety car period here, not any position to be gained from that. So he really needs miracles to make up so much positions to not only get Jan Koolman's, but also Koolman's must fall back for the championship to change.
Indeed, but like we saw in Sebring, for example, several drivers took the pit speeding penalties in the mandatory pit stop that this series has written in the rules. So if Koolman's happens to get a speeding penalty for some weird reason, because I can't see it happening in here though, because the entry is so slow because of the extremely tight hairpin going into the pits, I don't see that happening, except maybe in the exits. But still, if you get a speeding penalty in the pits for some reason or another, that could change the whole thing.
Meanwhile, we've got a little battle shaping up there in the 2nd position between Janis and Tom Ratje. So Janis came from the battle here at this very position last lap, where Jan Koolman's fight against him, and now he's going all the way across down to the gravel out of the last turn, and that is going to cost him valuable speed down the straight. And Tom Ratje down the inside has not really got a hard job here at overtaking him. Tom Ratje from Club Massachusetts and Jere Janis from Finland now looking to do a good fight here for the 2nd position. Stefan Morian in 4th, not really too far back, and he's made the pass to Douglas Baird, who is now in 5th position. So if these guys start fighting, it's not just going to benefit Jan Koolman's, but also going to put this a lot closer, because Koolman's right now has 4.2 seconds of a lead already.
Yeah, Koolmans is pretty much hammering low 140s lap after lap, whereas second fastest guy on the racetrack, which at the moment is Guillermo Rato, is doing 141 flats, so a good half a second faster than the second fastest guy on the track, and the second fastest guy not being Tom Rathie at this point in second position, so Jan Koolmans really looking strong here.
He is looking strong like almost every week here at the Blondie's MX5 World Tour. If you're just tuning in, this is the last round of the season, race 15. December 15th is the day, and we're at Mazda Speedway Laguna Seca here with the Mazda MX5s, the car you've got used to in the 15-round season here. Jan Koolmans currently your race leader, and you're following a fight here for position 17 between Simon Iris and Kyle Young. And Kyle Young takes the position here coming from P18. Now you're 17th, and Marcus Lambert is looking to get involved in that battle. And Dexter Castro is also not too far away. Neither is Jonathan Kier and Luis Bavoni.
Yeah, this trio or quartet, so to speak, includes several names that we've seen in pretty much every season, every race of the season in the Blondie's World Tour. That they tend to get into action pretty much in every single race. And as we again see two wide going into the corkscrew, safely through every driver respecting each other there and giving each other room to work. And these guys have been doing these. Sebring, for example, we saw even in the very last lap, we saw the mid-pack battling like this, the 3 overtakings in 1 lap. So, and I believe we have the first guy to make the mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, we've got a car down pit road there.
We got quite a few of them.
Yeah, actually we have. It's not only Dexter Castro, but also now coming out of the pits is Christopher Thompson. But I don't think it's too mandatory, as he seems to have quite a lot of damage to his race car.
Yeah, it looks like a scheduled pit stop for Castro there. Let's see if how long is Castro's pit stop, if he just takes fuel. And yeah, it looked to me like he just took fuel, 10.8 seconds, which is one of the fastest pit stops we've seen in this series. Normally, if a driver takes 2 tires or 4 tires, it will take closer to 20 seconds. So my guess is that Dexter Castro just took the fuel, as this track is not that tire consuming.
A couple of battles going on here all over the racetrack, not only in the mid-pack but also around the second and third position, where Douglas Baird is now off the track here. He's made a bit of a gap again. He's been past Stefan Morian, and yeah, he's got away a little bit. Now he's lost about half a second of that right away. And also ahead of them, Jerianis versus Tom Rathie is still going on, only about a second separating the two MX5 drivers here, and behind them Douglas Baird and Stefan Morian only 8/10. And between Morian and Rathie, it is only a gap of 4.5 seconds. Might sound much, but with these cars, yeah, any little mistake can cost you time, Joni.
It sure can, and even the slightest mistake, it doesn't have to be even a braking mistake. It could just be a turning mistake, just to cause your car to go slightly too heavily over the inside curb. There's the infamous red cones inside the inside curbs in quite a few corners, and if you hit the car there, it really unsettles your car and could actually break something in your car. And it's really in order to be very fast at this track, you really have to be as close to those red cones in the inside the curves as possible, and you have to be willing to set your car to the absolute limit, approaching centimeters away from the sand traps. And once you go just inch wide, it can be a race over for you in an instant.
It really can, and we've not only got the corkscrew here, one of the most complicated turns around this track. This is actually one of the tracks with the highest elevation changes. So once you go up, you of course have to go down, and especially looking towards the first turn, or also coming down the last turn, down from the corkscrew in fact. You've got quite a bunch of complicated turns here. You're seeing this, probably thinking the MX-5, of course being the rookie car, yeah, might not be so so hard, but it actually is, because these guys are not just lapping the car around the track, as you're seeing Guillermo Rato trying to get past Claudio Klima for the P12. These guys are actually pushing the car to the very limits, and even though there's a 2-second gap between the slower and the faster drivers, it's still quite the limit these guys run, and you can't exactly be much off the limit, because then the mistakes start happening. And we're going to see now if Guillermo is able to take it down to the first turn here, overtaking the number 24 car of Claudio Klima. Klima still being outside of him, but Guillermo making it clean and painless for Guillermo to take here the 12th position here. In fact, now following Benjamin Lanouette in 11th, and it is no long way then to enter the top 10 for him. However, we said it a couple of times already, he is second in the championship, and by the looks of it, it won't really change anything from the result he's going to get today. And yeah, even if he would win and Jan Koolmans would finish a few positions back, Koolmans would still take the title, as he's 52 points ahead of Guillermo Rato.
Absolutely, and when you're talking about driving close to the limit while being 2 seconds off pace, that's not exactly far from the truth. I've driven quite a few times with around this racetrack with the Pontiac Solstice car, which is one of the iRacing's official multi-class series, and close to the limit, I mean I can do laps within a few tenths of a second, but once I get into a rhythm, if I happen to lead by like a good 10 seconds and I don't want to take any stupid risks, I have the same feeling behind the wheel that I'm pretty much just as close to the edge, but the lap times are showing more than a second a lap slower, and it's very, very marginal. The racing line is very marginal, but the gains in time is huge.
And meanwhile, Jan Koolmans is passing the first few lap cars here. In fact, Bill Zahn, we've talked about earlier, had a little incident. Kevin Lemberg and Lowell Jewell. So these three cars now being lapped by the leader, Jan Koolmans. He's taking it really easy there, just not trying to risk any incident and trying to extend his lead.
Absolutely. The worst thing that Jan Koolmans could do at this point is just make some stupid maneuver and wreck his car, because that's basically the only thing that can that's standing between him and taking the title home for the season 4.
So all he has to do is finish, really. If he does finish first, all right, good. Once again, a victory for Jan Koolmans. He's had plenty of them in the season already, but even if he finished second or third, he does not have to apply any risk here to put down the title. And even with Guillermo Rato currently being in 11th position, 32 seconds down, he's got past Benjamin Lanouette. It's not going to change anything. So if Koolmans puts the car into the wall, it's really the worst thing that can happen to the Belgian.
Absolutely, and a few guys also visited the pits while the action was happening. Marcus Lambert went into the pits, got 2 tires and the fuel, and Jonathan Kier also took 2 tires. The difference between Dexter Castro's pits and those who took 2 tires was 5 seconds. So the 5 seconds difference on the racetrack, if you have equal set of pace amongst between the 2 drivers, 4 or 5 seconds can be quite crucial. So I would personally probably gamble around this racetrack and not to take any tires, like Dexter Castro did in his pit stop. That would be my personal bet, since I didn't see his car on the jacks. But at the moment, Jan Koolmans is still dealing with traffic and still lapping below 141s.
Yeah, he's on an incredibly fast pace. If you compare that to Tom Ratia, who's had a clean lap, he's only done a 41.1. So even with overtaking these lap cars, Jan Koolmans is putting down the fastest laps of the session here. So he's almost past Marcus Lambert there, and then he has a few laps of free road ahead of him. However, Jan Koolmans is also due to do his pit stop here. He's not been in the pits yet. We've got half of the race underway, 24 laps in the race. Currently in lap 13, going to start 14th lap in just 2 turns. So Jan Koolmans can freely choose here when to pit, of course, like the other drivers as well. And he's now taking the position of Marcus Lambert, who is now 1 lap down. So Joni, we're going to go on board here with Jan Koolmans as he's going uphill there for the first hairpin, approaching the first hairpin, and you said it, you've done a couple of races here yourself. Talk us through a lap.
Yeah, we're currently coming into the turn 1 here, 180 degree, not so much of a hairpin, but 180 degree wide turn. You have to really get the car close to the double apex inside curb to get the car to rotate nicely, then just maybe switch one gear up, then immediately one gear down into the turn 2 here, another slow acceleration, then you have to lift slightly, get the car to rotate nicely, almost flat out, get the car flat out as soon as you possibly can here, then the infield straight away, and then a few gears down up, I think the third gear with the Mazda Cup Mazda sets, and then uphill, this is the one of the two high climbs on the racetrack, and then approaching the kink, very tough corner. Some drivers drop a gear here, some prefer not to, and then another long uphill climb approaching the infamous corkscrew corner here. Blind braking spot right here. Get the power down. Get the brakes as hard as you can. Not twist the car too much through the steep downhill, and then you start the downhill. 3 straight corners downhill, left, and then hit the brakes now. One gear down, right-hander, penultimate corner. Then watch out for the sand trap on the left-hand side. Short acceleration, down the second gear, then the last tight hairpin left, which brings us to the main straightaway and another lap.
Yeah, and Jan Koolmans, this lap really is over more quickly than you think. He's doing lap times around 1 minute 40, 1 minute 40.519, one of the quickest laps here this session. And he's still around 10 seconds here in the lead. We're going to take a look at that as Tom Ratje comes by 9.715 seconds. And it looks like second position Tom Ratje is able to break free from Jere Jannes.
Yeah, Jere Jannes seems to, not struggle that much in race pace, but his qualifying pace seems to be a lot faster compared to his personal race pace. Whether or not it's just a matter of a small error in the driving style, just overdriving the car, which you're able to do for 1 or 2 laps, hot laps, but in a race pace, burning your front tires is really going to cost you, and I think that's what's happening for Jere Jannes here. He was strong in the few early laps, but then just slowly falling back.
Meanwhile, in 8th position, Guillermo Rato, one guy ahead has been in the pits, and that has been Stefan Morien, so he's gained a position from that. However, he's also passed Chuck Johnson, so in 8th position, the number 8 car of Guillermo Rato. He's 33 seconds down. It's not really that much. He's got Giuseppe Airo right ahead of him. Airo currently doing high 42s. But then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Teteridge still being in the reach for him, but Tuomas Halonen, Douglas Baird, and also the top 3 are all doing low 41s, just like Guillermo Rato, and he's not really gaining in seconds then.
No, he's not, and this is the part where Rato, when he makes his pit stop, will have to think that I would personally think that Rato is not going to take tires, because if he takes tires and everyone else takes tires, that means there's no time gained during the pit stops for Rato. If he doesn't take tires, or if he does take and the other ones don't, then it means 5 seconds lost, and that's too much to gain around this racetrack. So my personal bet would be, for best bet for Rato would be to just take the mandatory fuel for the last 9 laps and not take any tires at all.
It is quite a bad situation the two are in. Really, for Guillermo Rato, seeing this right now, he knows that Jan Koolmans is one of the most experienced drivers here in the series, one of the fastest as well, and he knows that from his position he can't do anything, so he has to rely on a mistake from Jan Koolmans, and I don't think that mistake is going to come, so he really has to, just try to make it work, try to finish, as we believe that Jere Jannes has got a speeding penalty.
Yeah, I believe so, because I was just about to say that he has, with a 10-second margin, he has the slowest pit stop of the whole field, 24.5 seconds. So that if it wasn't a speeding penalty, then he took all 4 tires, but that cost him dearly.
Yeah, and he has been in 3rd position. Tom Ratje overtook him earlier, so not exactly far to the rear. He's had Douglas Baird behind him. Now both cars have been in the pits, and both Douglas Baird and most likely Tuomas Halonen will go past. Douglas Baird is already past Tuomas Halonen and still has to do his mandatory pit stop. And now it's a question if Jere Jannes will be able to get back at Douglas Baird, as Baird has about 6 to 7 seconds of a gap here, so you see how much Jere Jannes actually lost with that. And Tuomas Halonen comes down pit road this time, hopefully not collecting a speeding penalty as well, as he could easily make up a position by that.
Yeah, this is one of the king of the late breakers pit entries right here around this racetrack. The pit entry is extremely narrow. It has a tight hairpin corner, and once you come out of the hairpin, you have to start accelerating to the 35 miles an hour speed limit, which this pit lane has. But it's easier said than done. I mean, those drivers who really have figured out their brake markers for the pit entry, they can really gain a good second if you have the guts to really brake late and still get the car to rotate. And the same applies for the exit as well. I mean, we see Thomas Halonen here, right here making the exit. This is the easy part, but now comes the tricky part. About a car width of space, and you have a tight 180-degree turn. This is quite a hell of a pit exit here.
Yeah, and you don't really have any curbs there, so it goes straight off to the gravel. The gravel, of course, yeah, not really too forgiving. So as soon as you put a rear wheel on the gravel, you're quite likely to spin there. Thomas
Rato
Halonen.
up to P4. Rato up to P4. As Giuseppe Era goes wide into turn 5, and Rato capitalizes on it. So P4 for Rato.
Yeah, don't be surprised though. Fourth position, both of them have not been in the pits yet. We are in lap 17, going to go into lap 18 now. No, we're not going to go into lap 18 as Jan Komans comes down pit road. So Tom Ratier will also come down pit road. Just about to say he's going to take over the lead. No, second position Tom Ratier also coming down pit road, and he's just collected a bit of the tire there on the pit road.
Yeah, like I said, that's a trickiest pit road pretty much I've seen in all of iRacing. And plus, by the way, just to mention that we're talking about Guillermo Rato not having made his pit stop, and the in-screen footage is footage on the screen is showing Rato having done one pit stop, and that's because of the fact that he missed the grid and had to start from the pits, and that counts basically, according to the telemetry, as one pit stop. So Rato still has not made his mandatory pit stop.
We have to say exactly this is not counting as his mandatory pit stop, so he has to bring the car down pit road once in this race to complete his mandatory pit stop. He is, however, now in second position, still showing that Jan Komans is going to be the one to win this race here, really. Can't think of anything else here. The driver from the Benelux club currently still leading the grid here, and Rato hasn't even been in the pits. So even without a pit stop, Rato will not be able to make up enough time here to capitalize, really. Tom Ratier coming out of the pits there. Douglas Baird also passed him, so yeah, I think Ratier has been having to fix the damage really from the pit entry.
Yeah, I think so. Extra 4 seconds for Ratier in the pits, and currently Ratier is now 5.5 seconds behind Douglas Baird, who only has 1.2 seconds gap to number 4th place of Tuomas Halonen. So Baird can, after Chuck Johnson in P3 makes his pit stop, Douglas Baird could potentially have a podium position in the season finale here.
Third position, Chuck Johnson, the only one not brought the car down to pit road in the top 10, in fact. So all the cars in the top 10 have had their pit stops, and yeah, one of the big losers really is currently Jere Ennis. He's been the one having to do the 15-second standstill on his
Johnson
pit stop.
In the pits.
Johnson in the pits. So that's going to give us a clean top 10 this time by. Thomas Halonen will most likely get him, Tom Ratier will get him, Douglas Baird and Arkadiusz Tetrich will also get him. So it's a question really if Tom Ratier can get Halonen here for third, and it's a question really if Douglas Baird can do anything about that really. He's in between them, and he's shown in the first stint that he's got the pace to do anything about that.
Yeah, we have to wait and see how the pit stop routine, the pit stop roulette, once it's completely finished, how the thing's sorted out. Looking at the pit stop times here, at quite a bit of variety in terms of how long the pit stops lasted. Tom Rathie's stop, because of that small damage, possibly 19 seconds. Douglas Baird 15 seconds. Koemans 11 seconds. 10.8 for Castro, 9.1 for Arkadiusz Tetrich. Excellent pit stop for Arkadiusz, and possibly I think Arkadiusz grabbed a few positions there. He has clearly the fastest pit stop of anyone around him.
So nothing is decided around top 5 yet. However, Jan Komans still being a race leader. Second position, Guillermo Rato has not been in the pits for his mandatory pit stop. If you're just tuning in now, this is the ultimate penultimate round of the season, the Blondie MX5 World Tour Season 4, 15 rounds in this season here. The 15th of them is currently being held here at the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. MX5 Mazda is your car. We've got 29 cars started this race. Currently we have 26 of them still going, so still that is Laguna Seca. And your race leader, like just said, Jan Koolmans ahead of Guillermo Rato, is currently in the pit road, and Tuomas Halonen in third.
And speaking of the cars that they're racing here, let's not forget we have two different Mazdas running here. We have the both MX-5 Cup and the Roadster. Even though only very few drivers in this series have agreed to run the Roadster, I think Dexter Castro being one of them who decided to. Drivers have to pick their car which they want to drive at the beginning of the season, and they are not allowed to change it. So Dexter, I think he at the midway point of the season, he made pretty clear that he was disappointed about his decision to choose the Roadster, since the Cup car really seems to have the edge.
So Tuomas Halonen now in second position, Douglas Baird in third, right behind him, and also Tom Raty not exactly in the viewing distance, but he still has a good idea that the guys are ahead of them. And behind them, Jere Ennis, who's had the 15-second standstill stop-and-go penalty from speeding in the pits. He's now in a battle between him and Guillermo Rato. So Rato's made up a lot of positions here. He's had a great pit stop, and he could maybe even get into the top 5. He's got Yanis and then Tom Ratia ahead of him, and Ratia is already about 5 seconds ahead of them, so it's still going to be a hard job for them in just about 4 laps to go.
Yeah, and Rato did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He only took fuel and he took the mandatory splash, and that's it. And his pit stop was by far the fastest of the whole field, 6.2 seconds. So only fuel for Rato as he looks to the inside of Jere Ennis into the corkscrew, decides against it. But I think the next overtaking spot will, realistic overtaking spot, that being the last left-hander hairpin, I think Rato is going to do his move there or in the turn 1.
The last couple of guys here bringing the car down the pit road. David Schaffer currently brought the car home and just gave the pit crew a bit of an advice there, changing tires, taking some fuel. He's currently in 22nd position here, and the battle's still going on for top 5. Arkadiusz Tetrich, the only one not really in the reach for that. Guillermo Rato in 6th, battling with Jere Ennis. Tom Ratia 4.3 seconds ahead of them, and Douglas Baird and Tuomas Halonen not really got the second position settled. So Baird still trying to get the second, but looking at the lap times, last couple of laps 42.3, it seems like he's pretty much just overdriving the car at the moment. Yeah,
he is. He's just trying way too hard, and every time it doesn't really matter what car you're into. Once you start overdriving the car, trying to gain time, you're going to have exactly the opposite happening to you. Just start going slightly wide in the braking. You miss the going on the throttle on the exits. You miss the top speed on the straightaways, and that starts costing you 10th after 10th. And once you start getting desperate, and then you start increasing the things that you're doing wrong, it can end in several bad ways. And yeah, Douglas Baird is currently 1.1 seconds away from his fastest lap times of the race. Compare that to Tuomas Halonen, who is lapping within half a second of his personal best. Douglas Baird is really struggling here. And Yanis still hasn't given up the battle with Rato here. Rato still.
And what's going on with Tuomas Halonen? He's completely came to a standstill in the last turn.
He most likely got a slowdown penalty coming out of the corkscrew, and it's the wisdom is that if you get a slowdown penalty in the corkscrew, do not start slowing down in the downhill, because that costs you more time than if you drive flat out into the last corner, and in the hairpin, just make an early brake, slam your brakes hard, make the car in a standstill, and accelerate again, and you lose less time. Most likely that's the case.
29 seconds. What a gap between Jan Komans and the second position, Douglas Baird. Douglas Baird, however, not really got that safe. So, yeah, behind him, Tom Rathje currently is 5 seconds off. But then, at least, the third position not being decided yet. We've got 2 laps to go this time by. Tom Rathje in third, Tuomas Halonen in fourth, right behind each other. Then a small gap, and then it's Jari Jannis versus Guillaume Rato. And I wonder if Rato gets past that relatively quickly now. It's, yeah, might get the chance to go for the top 3 even.
Yeah, but he really has to start pushing it and trying to set up a pass. He's been behind Jari Jannis with about the same distance here for now 4 laps straight, and he hasn't really ever since. Oh, he goes very wide into the corkscrew braking there, but yeah, Rato really has to start thinking it away. So as Jari Jannis obviously got the slowdown penalty in the corkscrew, it goes wide. Jari Jannis goes off the track after the corkscrew, going downhill, and I'm not sure if that was a slowdown penalty which he just neutralized by just slowing down that much, but that off track was just unnecessary. That pretty much settles the P5 for Guillermo Rato. Now that he has a clean air in front of him, he will definitely disappear from Jari Jannis.
It settles the top 5 for him, but will it also allow him to go for the top 3? 2 laps to go here at Laguna Seca, and is Guillermo Rato able to take the top 3?
Oh, Tuomas Halonen spins! Tuomas Halonen almost half spins it in the turn 1. He was so close to the rear of Tom Rathje there, and just did extremely late braking, trying to get the car to settle on the inside. Didn't manage to do so, had to stay on the brakes too late. Rotated the car into the corner while heavy on the brakes and caused the car to spin, but luckily managed to straighten the car before anything bad can happen. But that really opened the door for Guillermo Rato here, only 1.3 seconds behind Tuomas Halonen now.
Andre Hegheim between them being a lapped car, of course, and Rato now being right at the tail of Tuomas Halonen. Halonen not really much slower than Rato in sheer speed. However, Tom Rathje should be quite a bit slower, as Rathje almost puts the car there into the gravel. So a big mistake here once again in the kink, and not far behind them still is Jari Jannis. So he's not completely out of this battle, and we're going to go into the last lap this time by.
Yeah, last lap this time by, and Rathje is gonna have 3-car train of Halonen and Rato following him, going into the last lap, below second between these 3 drivers. And yeah, Jari Jannis is not that far behind, so any one of these 3 gentlemen makes a mistake, and Jari Jannis is right there to capitalize on it.
So, last time into the first turn, last time taking the downhill road there into the first hairpin, and it could even be a possible overtaking spot there for Tuomas Halonen to get the pass. You've still got Jan Komans leading the pack, only half a lap to go for him. Bear with us though, we're going to stick here with the battle for the 3rd position. Halonen goes round the outside, not particularly smart. He tries to make it stick and now tries to get the run out of the, as Tom Rathje is going very wide there out of the turn, going for the inside. Rathje closing down, and Rato behind them just trying to capitalize. He can't really find a way past. He's just trying to follow, and I just hope they will bring this home safe. I don't want to put them into the contact position, so Rato just trying to follow and waiting for a mistake ahead.
Yeah, just I will guess that if one of these guys gets a run on each other, they will pass each other in the corkscrew, and the last lap corkscrew passing, that can get ugly soon. But meanwhile, Jan Komans coming out of the final corner to take the victory in the season finale. God, in fact, he goes very sideways coming out of the last corner. I think it was an early celebration there or something.
And
but
wait a second, Guillermo Rato is passed. Mistake from Tuomas Halonen.
Into 5th. So we missed the victory ceremony for Jan Komans here as we try to follow the battle for 3rd position. Last time they went through the corkscrew, and I think Jari Jannis is out of the picture. Tom Rathje secures his 3rd position, but the P4 battle, Tuomas Halonen can still make a, if he makes a late brave dive into the last hairpin, I don't think he will be able to get close enough. Nope. So that's very strong 4th position for Guillermo Rato, I would say, even though that surely must be disappointing for Guillermo Rato, finishing the race in 4th position, knowing that his pace was good enough to fight for the win.
It really was.
Not for the win necessarily, but
it really was, and I completely agree to that. Jan Komans, however, we've not really focused on him coming across the line. So Jan Komans takes the race victory here in 41 minutes 1 second, and that's going to be the series champion. Jan Komans here taking the series championship, winning ahead of Guillermo Rato and Douglas Baird. Douglas Baird taking home second position. Great race by him. He didn't really make any changes to that. He's already been third, fixed in the championship, and he's going to take home third position. Nothing to change about that. Jere Jennis in sixth, going to take home fourth in the championship, and Cardius Tetrich going to take fifth. So no changes in the top five in the championship here. And we're going to welcome once again here race winner Jan Komans, and not only race winner but also championship winner. Congratulations, Jan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Great race once again. You've took the pole again by 6/10, so great lap once again. However, in the first lap already, you've put the car massively sideways in the kink and almost crashed into the wall. What was going on there?
I think I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know, I got a reasonable start, but I was a bit confused because I was expecting Guillermo behind me and he wasn't there, so I was kind of wondering what was going on, and before I knew it, I was just heading towards the tires. So luckily I rejoined not too far off the lead, so I could take it a bit easy, and after a few laps,
You said it, it didn't really take too long for you to regain the positions. We've seen a couple of drivers to get slowdown penalties, and especially in the pit route, getting the 15-second penalty for entering too quickly. Did you really make sure to not get a slowdown in the chicane, and what was your rule on pit entry really to avoid the stop-and-go penalty?
well, the cork screw, it's a very tight place. In order to get quickly through it, you really have to be on the edge of getting a 1x or a slowdown. But it worked pretty well. I mean, I didn't get anything there. For the pit lane, it's just a bit tricky. It's a very tight left-hander. So I just to get the back to turn in, I just went back to first gear with, I don't know, you drift slightly through the corner. That's a fast way to go without looking into the tires.
So you're series champion here, series champion of season 4 of the Blondies and X5 World Tour. Yeah, 15 rounds there, and series title got at the last round of the season here at Laguna Seca. You've been running all rounds of the season here, and what track was your favorite really?
I think actually this might be my favorite track right here, Laguna Seca. It used to be a very long time ago. It used to be on the rookie series. It's where I learned to drive when I joined the series, and I've always had a lot of fun here. But there are some other really nice tracks we did. Like I like Okayama, the full course as well. The only track I didn't really like that much is Lime Rock Park. I think I feel quite comfortable.
So what about now that you won the secured the victory in the championship in the season 4 of the Blondie's Mazda World Tour? What are your plans? Are you gonna race the season 5?
Yeah, I hope so. I'll have to see how the timing goes, because my girlfriend can get slightly upset sometimes that I'm hogging all the Saturday nights. But it's a nice bunch of guys to race with, and it's a pleasure having you guys broadcast us. So I hope to be back for season 5.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to season 5, and from what I understand, the series schedule is still pretty much unfinished, and lots of rules set and other discussion is going on. But yeah, I'm looking forward very much to the season 5 of the Mazda World Tour.
Good New Year, guys.
And do you have any last words in your? I don't think we've ever seen you talking with your own language, so you want to say something with your own language in the end?
I don't think anybody would understand that.
We'll just go for it anyway.
Bedankt iedereen en tot volgend jaar. That basically
Short and
means
sweet.
thanks everybody. See you next year.
Thank you very much. And next, we'd like to talk to Dexter Castro. Are you there, man?
Yep, I'm here.
Best, I think, did I get a bit wrong, or were you driving the Roadster? No, you were doing the Cup as well. So my bad there. But You had a quite an eventful race. 15th overall. How you feel?
Well, 24 hours ago I didn't even have a computer, so I'm just glad to be racing.
Really? What happened?
Well, actually, the reason I've been gone, I haven't raced in 6 weeks, and my graphics card died on my old computer, so I had a whole new one built, and we just got finished setting it up about 3 minutes before qualifying ended.
Well, luckily it didn't bother you that much, or you would have missed the season finale. So season is over, 15 races, and you obviously missed a few of them. What are your plans for season 5? You're gonna race that entirely?
Yeah, my plan is to race the whole season. I mean, I think I was in 4th in the standings before my computer died. I think I'm down to 7th now, but I'll be racing the Cup next year. I've just finally given up on the Roadster, so I couldn't go forward or backwards in position, so I just decided to race the Cup today and take whatever penalty they give me.
What about what comes to the season 5 track selections? Looking at back this season, the 15 races, any tracks that you would like to see added or removed completely, etc.?
Well, actually, we've got a champion's choice for that. So Jan will be choosing a track to run and one to replace, and I believe he's chosen Road Atlanta to replace Brands Hatch.
Not a bad choice at all. But if you would be given that power to choose what track to add and what to remove, what would be your choice?
Well, I've said in the past jokingly that I'd put Texas Short B on the schedule if I were the champion, but seriously, I think Road Atlanta is probably the best track we don't have on the schedule.
Yeah, I'm sure several road guys would disagree you on the Texas Oval, even the Texas Oval. Even though I agree, it's an awesome track for slow cars. So like you said, few missed races and P7 overall, and you must be disappointed. But by considering that you were at some stage you were in P4.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but you know, I'm definitely going to be in it next year, and with the Cup, I think that'll probably bump me up a few spots even, so I might even have a chance at top 3 in the points. But it's been a great season, and it's been a lot of fun.
Indeed, it has been a great season, and we'd like to thank you for the whole season and the post-race interviews you've done, including this one, and thanks also for Bill Zahn for giving us the opportunity to broadcast the Blondie's Mazda World Tour Season 4 entirely. And Marius, your final thoughts on the season before we wrap up?
Yeah, I could just say I've not followed the entire season, but once again, this race has been incredibly interesting. It just came down to the pinnacle of racing really in the last couple of laps. And it's been really interesting that you see these guys running the very basic model, the rookie model in the iRacing service, and just show how much of fun you can have with it. And it just shows that you don't exactly need the most advanced car, the fastest car even, but you can have fun with the very basics. So always great to see guys having fun with the simple toys, let's say.
Absolutely, I can't agree more, because I'm a strong supporter of the MX-5 family and the Solstice, the Jedi, all those so-called rookie cars, which actually provide, in my opinion, some of the best racing of all of iRacing. So that's one of the reasons why I personally loved every single race of this series to watch and to broadcast. So I think it's season is pretty much wrapped up now, and we don't have anyone else to interview at this moment. So I'd like to say thank you for the once more to the Blondie's Mazda World Tour for the successful, now awesome season. And you've been watching season 4, season finale of the Blondie's Mazda World Tour here on GlacierTV. And next up will be in about hour and 30 minutes time, the Proto Ice round number 6, or so should we say 11 and 12. Heats of the season, and Marius, your thoughts on that? What are you expecting of Phillip Island?
Well, I hope it's just going to be a bit more sane than on Road Atlanta, really. So I hope you guys take it a little bit more easy. It is still has shown that it's going to be an incredibly interesting race, and Liam and I will be here together with you once again to, yeah, keep an eye on that. And it's going to be Gregor Hutu still taking the car from the first championship position, and he's not only going to defend against Jesse Niemann, but also against Martin Krönke and David Williams. So those guys have been shown that they are very strong at Road America, at Road Atlanta, and yeah, it's going to be one interesting race. So, this is in the last round of the season, so don't expect any more Blondie's MX-5 action for this year and this season, of course. However, we're going to bring you the Proto Ice tonight in just over 1 hour from the Australian Phillip Island. It's going to be one interesting race again, prototype action, 30 minutes races, lots of close car racing, so make sure to tune in for that. 1 hour 15 minutes approximately, and we're going to go back from Phillip Island. Until then, cheers and bye bye.